The American Civil War ended 160 years ago, but it still remains the deadliest war in American history. The Civil War was fought from 1861 to 1865 between the United States of America, or the Union, and the Confederate States of America, or the Confederacy. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives. Let's first look at the casualties of the Union, or the North. The Union's military suffered between 360,000 and 365,000 deaths. This included 110,000 men who were killed in battle. The 110,000 battle deaths of the Union included about 3,000 black troops. 211,000 Union soldiers were captured and taken prisoner by the Confederates. Between 25,000 and 30,000 of these Union soldiers died in Confederate prisons. Other than deaths in battle and in prisons, the Union's military suffered an additional 225,000 deaths, the vast majority of which were due to diseases. At least 30,000 black troops died due to disease. Furthermore, the number of Union Army wounded was 275,000. Next, let's look at the casualties of the Confederacy, or the South. The Confederacy's military suffered between 160,000 and 290,000 deaths. This includes between 75,000 and 94,000 who were killed in battle. 463,000 Confederate soldiers were captured and taken prisoner. Between 26,000 and 31,000 of these Confederate soldiers died in Union prisons. Additionally, between 59,000 and 164,000 died of disease on the Confederate side. Furthermore, the number of Confederates wounded was 194,000. The total number killed on both sides was between 185,000 and 204,000. The total number of soldiers who died in prison on both sides was between 51,000 and 61,000. The number of military deaths on both sides due to disease and other causes was between 284,000 and 389,000. In total, there were between 520,000 and 654,000 military deaths in the American Civil War. More American soldiers died in this war than even in World War II, where 400,000 Americans died. But how many civilians died? There is very little information available about civilian casualties due to the war. One source says that at least 60,000 slaves died from disease during the war. Another source says that there were 50,000 war-related civilian deaths. In total, a minimum of about 600,000 people died due to the American Civil War. While America's population is now over 300 million, the US population was only 30 million in 1860. This means that the lowest estimate of 600,000 Civil War deaths was around 2% of the country's population at the time. In modern times, the Civil War's proportional damage would be equivalent to 6 million Americans dying in the 2020s.